And believe me when I say it usually doesn't reflect reality. That's why I call it funny money. There's nothing really funny about it. It's actually quite depressing. But it's like this fictitious number that you just pull out of the air. At least that's how it feels like it. But here's where it gets tricky. So the IRS, the standards, they almost never match up with what things really cost. And then they set these allowances based on what they think is reasonable for things like rent and groceries in your area. But those numbers usually don't match up to what you're actually paying. So in reality, for example, the IRS might allow $1,200 for rent in your area, but you're actually paying $1,500. The IRS isn't going to count that extra $300 in their calculation of what you can afford to pay. But you still have to pay the rent, right? The IRS just doesn't care. They're only going to consider what they think is reasonable based on their standards. Even though the IRS sets these standards, it doesn't mean that you're completely out of luck if your actual expenses are higher. In fact, they're probably going to be higher. You may have to fight it out with the IRS to get them to consider your true financial situation, but it's at least an opportunity, right? So here's what you need to know, and this is crucial.